Thomas Alva Edison.
My boys and I caught in a jar what before now has only flashed across the night sky.
The future is here. Hello, I'm George Westinghouse.
Nikola Tesla.
I will be the greatest provider of electrical power in the world. Better than Edison. There's a contest between you.
This is a battle for the brightest minds of America. Today, the impossible becomes possible. And the man that controls that current controls the future. I hope you brought your checkbooks.
If you want to be remembered, it's simple. Shoot a president. But if you prefer to have what I call a legacy, you leave the world a better place than you found it.
You are building miracles out of thin air.
I'm working on...
Aloha! This is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu. Over here at Ko'olina, the Alani Resort, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man. And last night, opening night, I went ahead and I saw a wonderful movie called The Current War. This stars a whole host of people. Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Holland, Michael Shannon, Nicolas Hoult. So right there you have Doctor Strange, Spiderman, with Holt, you have the Beast from the X-Men, and with Michael Shannon, of course, you have General Zod in a fabulous movie where all of these people interact. And, so, I mean, on just sheer acting gravitas alone, it is worth seeing. So remember our rating scale, shock a thumbs up. It's good to see, I recommend it. Shock a thumbs down, it's junk. I don't recommend it, it's bad to see. And of course, for a current war with this magnitude of stardom in it, it is a strong shock and thumbs up. This is a movie, I've shown you a little bit of the trailer. Basically, this is at the turn of the century, just before the turn of the century of the 19th century, the late 1800s, where Thomas Edison is in a battle with Nikola Tesla to determine the future energy use, electricity use, in this budding field for America and, eventually what would become the world. And in between it all, or maybe playing both sides of it, this is instigated by Michael Shannon's character playing George Westinghouse, creator of these generators of, I didn't know it, but I guess brakes on trains, where you got to start, and then finally into large, factory generators. And we see what would evolve into, eventually Edison Electric would evolve into General Electric, GE, which is still around with us today. This is an amazing tale that, stems the later, the middle and the later part of Thomas Edison's life, where he had become basically the very first, or one of the first superstars. Basically, an Eli Musk, Albert Einstein of his time, with all of his inventions and his patents. And we get glimpses into his family life, his married life. His wife passes away, he's left with his 2 children, and he is struggling to maintain his company and its dominance in the field of electricity, whereas George Westinghouse wants to, originally wanted to team up with him, but as both are too hard-headed and set in their own ways, they are end up being pitted against one another. And that's where Tesla falls in as being Westinghouse's ace in the hole. So we even get a little bit of Nikola Tesla's history, as I think I'd heard before, as they mentioned in this movie, that he had worked briefly for Edison, but the two, of course, being, again, headstrong scientists, both with their own theories and ideas, butted heads too much, and they went their separate ways. Who knows what could have happened in history, how many advances we could have had, how much further ahead the human race could be if these two had found a way to work together, if maybe these three had actually all partnered together instead of, dwindling their abilities and powers fighting among each other. But of course to our benefit, the general public's, as we now have, electricity. Just think, at the early set of the 1900s, in the late 1800s, there are many parts of America that did not have electricity, that were still using lamp oil, gas, very much like Victorian Europe and England. So this was trend-setting, this was remarkable, this was unbelievable and miraculous. As Edison in this movie explains, it is capturing, the light of a star and placing it into a jar, into a bottle. And that is exactly the feeling that was sweeping the nation, that made him a super famous person. People come up and ask for Edison's autograph, very much like a celebrity today. And it goes through the rest of his inventions as he, eventually, loses ground with Westinghouse and Tesla. His other inventions he falls back upon, the movie projector, just to say the least of his great inventions. And we get some truth, some reality, that Edison was not, a totally benevolent person, that many of his patents, many of his ideas, he himself said that, he didn't make all of these ideas, but he was the baker that brought all these ingredients together and, made the dough and let the yeast rise and cooked it into the fine slice of bread that people spend their hard-earned money on. And this is what he did. He was, as some say in this movie, part P.T. Barnum, along with his brilliant ideas and inventiveness. So yes, it is a strong shock, a thumbs up. Especially if you're into history, this is fine for little kids. Although, more adults, there's not really a lot of action and excitement in this. But, teenagers, older children might enjoy it, especially around the time of maybe science projects in school, if they're studying, American history with, the advance of the Industrial Revolution. That Industrial Revolution would not have taken place without the power, the electricity supplied to many of these factories, that Edison, without the light itself for people to work by. Amazing stuff in this movie, brought to you by amazing actors. I've named 4 of them. There are many, many others who make appearances in the show, and everyone is great and interacts wonderful together, and it's seamless to show the turn of the century city, Chicago, for the turn of the century and into the 20th century, World's Fair, where Westinghouse and Tesla end up getting the contract to light with electricity, electric light, the World's Fair. And that is something wonderful to see along with these characters, these actors' interactions with one another. I can't recommend this enough. It is in wide release, hitting, the major theaters this weekend, along with only, 2 other movies that are new, that Blue Bloods, I think, or Blue Badges, that cop drama, and then the Halloween scary movie, Countdown. This is what I feel the far superior film, and thus I saw it and I reviewed it for you. And I say go see it, chuck a thumbs up, especially if you enjoy history, if you enjoy any of those actors, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Holland. You can't go wrong with this movie. And again, if you love history and, inventiveness, if you're curious about Tesla, the man himself, we get a good portrayal of him in this during his younger years when he was still hungry and on top of things, seeing little dips in how he got started. And we see, we get a glimpse of the tragedy that befell him to come, I guess. Many people would probably just know Tesla right now from the cars, and he isn't even associated really with the cars. That's just something Elon Musk, adopted the name because it's an electric car. But he, as far as batteries goes, that was not what he was about, but the electricity to put into those batteries for those engines to run. And I think Tesla would today, even Edison today, would look at those electric cars that Elon Musk has done with probably a sense of pride, and would probably give him a couple of pointers on what to do next. All right, thank you so much. This is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man, saying go see The Current War, shock a thumbs up all the way. You can't go wrong with this movie. It's playing everywhere in wide release. I saw it over at Windward. It's at Capillet Commons, at Dole, at Kahala. Go ahead and see it wherever and whenever you can. Full price, matinee, on the cheaper, Tuesday days. It's all good. All right, thank you so much, and aloha.